guys, it's Bonnie back with another video today. So I know if you're a seasonal worker or a traveler or anything else where you just go to place a lot, I'm sure one thing that has crossed your mind a lot is how expensive accommodations can be while on the road. So today I wanted to talk about how I have managed to secure myself free accommodations while on my trip to Alaska, and I haven't ever even been to the state yet. So if that sounds something that interests you, make sure to stay tuned to this video. So, I'm sure you're wondering, how on earth did I possibly do that? I've never been to Alaska and I already have free accommodations for about 4 or 5 days set up for me? What? So, it can be done. You can do it too, I promise. So how did I do this? Well, I started by, of course, booking my plane ticket to Alaska when I decided that I was going to have a seasonal job there. After doing that, I decided, because I'm arriving early, which you don't have to do, my arriving early was a combination of just wanting to see the state that I'm going to be in, and also my lease ends about 20 days before my new job starts, so even visiting family and friends, I still kind of felt like I was going to be overstaying my welcome unless I arrived in Alaska a week early. So again, that's not something you have to do, but if you end up in a position with your seasonal job or you find yourself in the city or state where you're going to be early, then one thing you may want to consider is before you get there, as soon as you know you're going to be there early, start looking at what you're going to do. Since I'm arriving a week early, I decided I wanted to see a national park in Alaska, and so I had scheduled my transportation to and from the national park. I decided I probably didn't want to sleep in a tent the entire time I was in the national park, or I was in that area, because I expect it to be cold, and I do also want to see the city. I know Alaska is going to be small, but because I was not planning on staying in the national park the whole time, I decided to keep costs low by looking at a hostel. One of the hostels in the area was showing that all of their rooms and cabins were unavailable, which I thought was odd since I was looking about 6 weeks in advance. So I contacted the website via email, and about 6 or 8 hours later, somebody got back to me letting me know that they actually were showing unavailable because they're not open for about a week later because their summer season has not started yet. Because of that, they have offered me free accommodations during the time I plan on being there in exchange for just helping them set up for the summer. I do want to give a full disclaimer. I have not been there yet, which is why I'm not mentioning the name of this place. I just don't feel comfortable advertising a place I haven't been to yet. Also, we didn't really discuss too much in detail how many hours they want me to work in exchange for free accommodations. The other hostel in the area charges about $30 a night for a room, so I would say 3 to 4 hours would be, a fair price. I realize that if I'm paying somebody $30 a night, that it would have been taxed income, so you could argue it would be about $40 a pay. So 3 to 4 hours is what I'm anticipating to work per day for my free accommodations. If it's much more than that, I probably would not stay because I just wouldn't feel worth it to me. I'd rather just pay the money. So again, I haven't been there yet, so not saying this is some great thing, but I just wanted to let you guys know, hey, it's out there. I've seen plenty of TED Talks and other videos where people talk about how they have managed to travel for free using things like couch surfing and hitchhiking. I have not had any experience with either one of those things, so I didn't feel comfortable recommending them, but considering I am not the kind of person to ask for free housing, and yet free housing was offered to me by me asking what was available. Like, I literally sent an email. I was like, hey, your website's showing unavailable. I was just curious what you had. Just a single person, not looking for anything big. And that was when they responded that they weren't open yet, but were willing to accommodate me in exchange for just helping out. I do have a very, very minor history in housekeeping, which is definitely going to help me along this, but I mean, I hadn't even mentioned that to them at the time that they had offered this to me, so I'm sure it's not necessary. If you can clean a room, I'm sure that a hostel would be willing to take you if they're that understaffed. So if this sounds like something that'd be interesting to you, my advice would be when you're looking for a seasonal job, as soon as you can, get your plane tickets, and then as soon as you can, start looking at where you're going to be staying if you're going to be staying there before your job starts. Because typically if you're there before your job starts, you're not going to have housing either. So I would say just ask hostels, small cabins. Just you're going to want to look at cheaper accommodations. You know, a Ritz is not going to take you in for free, more than likely. You know, another 5-star place is not going to take you in for free, more than likely. So look at cheaper accommodations. You know, accept the fact that it might not be the most comfortable thing in the world, but hey, if it's free, can you really complain? So that is my advice to you. Because accommodations are typically the #1 expense with travel, seems like a really good thing. If you can plan it out well enough, you could cut out your #1 expense with travel. Also, something else I wanted to mention. If, like me, you're going to a national park or somewhere else where you can camp, look into just bringing a tent, or if you're flying there, maybe bringing a tent's not possible, get on Craigslist or get on a local Facebook group and see if there are free or cheap tents. Because if you can buy a tent for $10 and then sleep in a tent at a free campsite for a week, then you could easily save yourself $700 or more versus the cost of a hotel room at that same time. So that might not be totally free. You might still need to pay for some stuff. I realize some campsites do cost money, but that is something you could do to dramatically cut costs if you're not able to find a free hostel. So yeah, like and comment anything you have below. I'd love to hear how you have slept for free, how you find free accommodations, free transportation, anything like that while traveling. Also hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you again soon.